Hi, my name is Fletcher. I'm the CEO of Discovered, a performance hiring software platform. Today I want to talk to you about something that's quite timely. We all know that economic conditions are uncertain, so I want to talk to you about what we're seeing in the current conditions of the labor market here in 2022 going into 2023. I've had the great pleasure of spending time with a lot of great business leaders, and I actually had dinner with the CEO and chairman of Commerce West Bank the other night, and he's an amazing economist and a student of the economy. Really got that firsthand experience with him to really hash through what we expect happening in the next 6 to 12 months here in the economy. And as a performance hiring company, we're really concerned about the labor market, right? So we're just constantly monitoring these trends, and we're monitoring through the data that we're collecting, through third-party economists, through the Bureau of Labor Statistics, government. So we really look at all this different information to be able to sort of understand what's about to happen and to be able to provide great insights to you, our clients or our potential clients, on how to begin to adjust your talent acquisition, talent evaluation strategies to make sure that you're building a team for the future no matter what the economic forecast might be. Here is kind of the broad strokes and a disclaimer. I'm not an economist, but definitely spend my time studying, and I can't predict the future, so don't totally know what's going to happen. But we do have some early signs that obviously inflation is increasing. That's causing pressure on businesses as well as households, which theoretically is going to slow down economic activity. You're already seeing large companies pull back on their spending, their capital investments, which includes hiring. You're hearing about things like talent hoarding. So people have learned their lesson from COVID, where they laid off like 50 million people in like a month and then scrambled to hire them all back, which really left a bad taste in everybody's mouth. We're afraid to lay these people off because the cost of rehiring, retraining, retooling our workforce is way bigger than it is just to keep a high-performing person in the team. We're stop hiring new people. We're letting natural attrition thin out our ranks here, and we're working hard to save the people that we got that are high performers in our organization. So beginning to see all of these things actually occur today. You're beginning to see companies cut back on spending and all sorts of different kinds of things on new tools, on software, increasing headcounts, whatever it is, buildings, capital investments in general. So we're definitely beginning to see that. People are hoarding their cash, hoarding their resources, whatever it is, or people resources and otherwise. We see the economic slowdown beginning to come. Now, the interesting thing is you're also beginning to see the labor market loosen. So over the last several months, it was really bone dry. It was super competitive. Wage inflation was going through the roof, and it's still all occurring. But over the last several months, we're seeing labor participation rates continue to grow. Now, it hasn't totally caught up with demand, although in August we saw unemployment rates tick up 0.2%. And that's because almost 800,000 people re-entered the job market. And we also got back to the same employment numbers that we were pre-COVID. So the same number of people are employed prior to COVID now that were prior to COVID. We're starting to reach full employment capacity. We're starting to see an increase in labor participation. And we've seen an increase in applicants and people going. Something also, I made a video about this, is the Great Resignation. So, people are saying, well, unemployment's super low, the labor market's super tight, we can't find anybody. And I was looking around and saying, well, there's still plenty of people looking for jobs. They want to leave the one that they're at for a better job. So, it's a bit deceiving. There are a lot of talent out there to be captured, even 6 months ago when the sky was falling and we felt like you couldn't find anybody, right? If you actually had the right strategies, you could find plenty of people. You could find amazing people, actually. So, and I think that's still true today. But we're going to see that labor participation go up. We're going to see less job openings. So when people are leaving jobs, they're going to have less opportunities to get picked up by their next one. So we are seeing decline. That means the labor pool is going to begin to expand. That has happened for a number of reasons. There's a couple of big sectors populations that are coming back into the workforce. So the 55 and up, which almost half of them left the labor market during COVID because their retirement investments skyrocketed and they lost their jobs and they just decided to bow out. They're done. They didn't want to go back into the office. They didn't want to work remotely. They lost their job. Finding another job was just, they didn't want to do it. They were ready to spend time with their families. Good for them. But their investments have tanked. They're bored. These are high-performing professionals. They're tired of playing golf, and they're ready to get back to work. And they're coming back in droves. So, great opportunity to find seasoned talent who really have a lot to offer. They've got a whole career of experiences to bring to the table if that's the kind of talent you're looking for. Now, the other one, this is my favorite group, it is women. Talked about this quite a bit, but we were losing 300,000 women per month over the last couple of years. They're dropping out of the workforce. Again, all COVID related. Now, these women are the highest educated, highest performing, most reliable, most productive workers in the workforce. Women outperform men when it comes to getting things done. I think we can all agree in whatever setting that they're in. These women were leaving. A lot of it had to do with dealing with family needs, right? They had to take care of the children. They're homeschooling their children. They're babysitting their children. They're trying to do, online learning and work, and it just wasn't working. Or they had to do online work. They couldn't go into the office. Going into work was just the driving and the commute and the logistics was just nearly impossible, as well as their aging parents. So aging parents, very vulnerable. They needed special care. Or taking them out of the care facility, bringing them back into our homes. Also worried about COVID, getting them sick, getting the children sick. It was a lot of things that these high-performing women were having to deal with. Let alone the what almost every worker and every person in the United States realizes that they need a work-life balance, right? So they're starting to come back. Kids are going back to school. Parents are less vulnerable. We got vaccines. They're just like the aging workforce. They're a little bit bored, right? They want to go back to work. They want to put this college education, these experiences back to work, right? And get back to adult relationships again. Those are a couple big ones. Now, the other one, especially on the low end, the frontline workers. So a lot of the stimulus money that people got, right, starting to run out. There's no more new money coming in. So they're starting to feel the pinch and realize, well, I better get back to work because I'm running out of money here. I'm not going to be able to pay rent next month, right? Keep food on the table. Inflation is putting extreme pressure on those types of folks as well. So just the cost of living is just skyrocketing, 10, 12, 15%, right? So dollars not going as far. And ultimately, we're seeing all of this in the household savings rates. They're beginning to plummet. So the amount of money that we're putting away every month and we're starting to run deficits in our household savings accounts, again, putting more pressure on the workforce to come back, really at all levels. So frontline, professional, mid-level, and executive level. All of these pressures are causing people to come back into the workforce in droves, ultimately. As we noted in August, almost 800,000 people re-entered the workforce, right? So we're going to have a new problem, right? We have key roles we need to fill. We may not be expanding the way we are, but we're going to have attrition and we're going to need to refill opportunities, or we may be in a position to capitalize on this. So we're going to begin to have way more candidates, a much, much bigger talent pool than we were used to. So we can begin to continue to use our candidate engagement tools to automate the hiring process. So we're going to use those candidate engagement, the use of video, everything we talked about in the candidate ghosting videos and many of our other videos on how to engage the best people in the talent pool. But we're going to begin to be overwhelmed with trying to figure out who is a rock star. And this is where we get into using the talent assessment, best interviewing, candidate evaluation strategies that we've talked about. So the 5 strategies for really hiring A players, we need to begin to employ those. So I encourage you to check out that video. But ultimately, we need to be using more predictive assessments. We need to make sure that we're checking candidates' references, their previous direct supervisors. We can automate that to a degree. We're going to leverage structured interviews to be more decisive and to make more educated hiring decisions, leveraging things like candidate scorecards to be more systematic, fair, unbiased in our hiring process, and predictive in it. And then ultimately really great training and onboarding strategies to make sure that when we do capture rock stars, that they are welcomed and brought into our organization so that they can hit the ground running and be as productive as possible. So we're going to begin to need to really hone in on those talent selection, talent evaluation, training and onboarding strategies so that we can capitalize on this fresh wave of talent, not to mention our great resignation people who are really probably some of our best opportunities there. Hey, look, if this was helpful for you, or if you need help implementing some of these strategies, I encourage you to reach out to us. But hit the like button, let us know that this was helpful, leave a comment, hit the subscribe button, and you'll get more of this great content when it comes out. Look forward to seeing you at the next episode.